So, if you've been around me, I would say the past 10 years, there's a number that seems to follow me pretty much wherever I go. No matter the place, time, state, it doesn't matter. Wherever I go, this number seems to follow me. This number is the number 33. I'm going to take my time with this video. I might not be able to get everything in. I go to work shortly, but I'm going to put as much in here as I can. I'll begin this video by reading this section here. I printed it off a while ago, maybe about 7 years ago, when I'm still trying to fully understand what this number means and what it means personally to my life. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's been 10 years and I'm still trying to pinpoint what exactly it is and why it shows up so often. Excuse me. So, I'll read this. It says 33 meanings. The number 33 is the mightiest of all numbers. It means conscious mental servitude. It is love in the divine sense. In this regard, it knows no bounds. Absolute tolerance, patience, and understanding. It is the practice of universal laws of harmony. Service to the people at the highest level with the elimination of all forms of self-interest, detached from the material, all matters are which belong to the number 33. The number 33 is the highest degree of spiritual awareness and is attained and cited by the greatest inspirational partakers. And usually there is an incredible psychic power in those it seems to follow. There are a few things that are not within range of 33. Let's do that again. There are a few things that are not within range of 33, and how great 33's might and power is used depends on the soul that answers to these vibrations. Since very old and experienced souls with this number are blessed, the negative qualities of this master number manifesting themselves are fortunately rare. Someone who will avoid usually comes back fairly quickly from his errors. You should totally try to come to the realizations that you indeed have a mastermind and move forward knowing you have tremendous strength, power, and a huge responsibility on your shoulder. And that's the beginning. I'll read the middle section. It says 33, the master teacher. The number 33 symbolizes the principle of guidance. When expressed to the fullest, the 33 lacks all personal ambition and instead focuses on considerable abilities toward the spiritual uplifting of mankind. What makes the 33 especially impressive is the high level of sincere devotion. This is shown in its determination to seek understanding and wisdom before preaching to others. The 33 in full force is extremely rare. Keywords for 33 is healer, compassionate, blessings, teacher of teachers, a martyr, inspiration, honesty, discipline, bravery, and courage. Career opportunities for 33, parent, guardian, educator, teacher, artist, and doctor. And I would say that all those, obviously parent, guardian, I oversee and watch over not only my children but my nephews, nieces, little cousins, whoever needs that guardianship. Teacher. I feel that's all I ever do. Whether it be the things I know or, something else someone else has taught me, or passed along. Artists, I draw a lot. Anyone that knows me, I can sing, I rap, so that's artistry. And a doctor. Behind this camera is my medicinal grow that I want to use to help people alleviate pain using cannabis, marijuana. So there's a doctor part. So I'll start from the beginning as much as I can remember. It seems like this video is long overdue. Like I said, 10 years. But I'll try to just remember everything. And a lot of the things are very impactful. So some of the main things, main situations where it appeared in my life that was just flabbergasted and mind blowing. I'll mention those. I'll tell the story of those. One second. So for me, the very first time I can remember it coming into my life, before I start, the reason I show this number so much, like you see here, the reason I display it to others. One, because back in 2010, that's when I began taking pictures of it, kind of like for my own personal proof. It was happening a lot more before then, but it was more of just mental note taking. So when I began taking pictures of it, that's when I began looking into it heavy, looking into numerology and things, and it had a lot of good associated with it. It also has bad because there's duality in all things. So someone might look up the number and find some evil stuff, but it is what it is. You can find evil stuff latent within mostly everything. Everything has a duality. Even us as human beings, we have a good side, we have the dark side, light side, dark side, the yin and the yang. So that's with all things. But the reason I use it is for good. The reason I display it as much as I do is because I want to show people, my loved ones, the odd connection and synchronicity between source and creator. Because as you'll figure out, even with the pictures and stories I'll tell you, is that this is out of my control. There are times when this number pops up in my life, man, and it's like, how, why? It's like, man, it blows my mind. It's out of my control. So the reason I take pictures and I show it to people is, one, to show that connection of spirit, source and creator. Source and creation, and how it's latent within my life. So I'll start my freshman year of high school. I had never played organized football. For whatever reason, my mom didn't want to let me play when I was younger. She didn't want a baby to get hurt. So it is what it is. I still play ball out in the neighborhood with the fellas, and I learned how to play ball that way. But when I went to Southeast, our mascot is the Knights, Southeast Knights, which is meaningful. I didn't really have any concept of how to play organized football. So my first year was more of a learning process. It was trying to learn the speed of the game, learn how to actually run plays and all kind of stuff like that. I started off as fullback, going out for fullback, but there were two guys in front of me that were sophomores. I was a freshman. But obviously, coach felt I had some talent, so he gave me a shot. I didn't do well with that shot, the first shot. So he ended up moving me. He actually played me one game at fullback. My very first game I played fullback. I got a carry. I was running, looking all crazy, man. Weird. I even forgot which number I had picked then. I think it was 27, or I don't know which number I had for that particular game. But it wasn't 33. It was that my first game was terrible. It was like everything was going so fast, I didn't know what to do. But anyway, so that whole year was a learning process. But before I had joined Southeast, as a kid and coming up, I was like heavy into like war movies, you know, or watching. A lot of times I learned my skill by watching other professional football players, and I was drawn to the ones that stood in front of their teammates, stood in front of their men, get them going, get them riled up, practically getting them ready for war. So I love that, and I drew to that, and I still resonate with that whenever I watch war movies today, man. It's just like when that person gets in front of the people, man, and just riles them up, inspires them, motivates them. That does something to me. It inspires and motivates me, but more often it's like I want to emulate that, because not for the glory that particular person seems to have, but also the inspiration and the power and the, you know, everything that comes with uplifting people. Because a lot of times you see in those movies the army is kind of downtrodden or hesitant to go into battle, and sometimes it takes somebody to, you know, give you a kick in the butt and say, let's go, let's get ready, you know, it's time. So I had that with me all throughout, you know, my childhood. So naturally, when I came to play football my first year, you know, and I was on a team for the first time, I didn't want to. Matter of fact, it wasn't even my place to jump into the role my first year. It was just a learning process. But sophomore year came, and that's when I would say not half of our freshman team, but I'll say a third of our freshman team started also playing varsity, and I was one of them, just sporadically on varsity. And then towards the end of the year, we kind of filled in more. But that year, the fullback of the varsity team, his name was Charles. He ended up quitting for whatever reason. But he ended up quitting, and Coach Yates, you know, he took it upon himself. Charles had the number 33, and he also played fullback. For whatever reason, he gave me that number. I don't know if he knew the spiritual significance of it or not, but either way, that's when I remember it began. He gave me that number, and so he gave me that number. He gave me that number, and from there, it just seemed to, something seemed to click. From that point on the team, I became a lot more vocal. At the time, there was Ray Lewis and the Ravens. They were on their Super Bowl run, and Ray Lewis was real popular with the chant, "What time is it? You know, what time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time." And I saw that, man. That was another one of those instances where a guy was getting this men riled up. So I was like, man, I want to use that. So I went and I kind of remixed it a little bit. So our thing was, what time is it? Nighttime. What time is it? Nighttime. Any dogs in the house? Who, who, who. Any dogs in the house? Who, 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 who. Again, what time is it? Nighttime. What time is it? Nighttime. Any dogs in the house? Who, who. Any dogs in the house? Who. And then I put my own little step on it at the end. So I would say southeast, 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 southeast. Now break it on down. Hoorah. And we did that chant every single day until we graduated. You know, so that was almost like a fulfilling of, you know, I don't know if it was the energy of that number or just me just already preparing or whatever it is, but I jumped right into that role of being one of the vocal leaders on the team, and it got us going. And also our second to last, well actually our last home game, I took it upon myself. It was another speech that I had been listening to throughout that year, and I was trying to learn it, and I ended up memorizing it. And it's on Crazy Bones' Thug Mentality album. It's the intro. It's called Thug Invasion. So I remembered that, and I kind of remixed, took the line here, out of there, line here, and added my own personal stamp to it. And before we went out into the field that day, the only person I had told, you know, where I got it from and where how I remembered it and all that stuff, the only person I even told I was going to do was John, our running back. And I told him before the game, I said, I'm going to do it this game. And he was ready. He was ready to go. So I did it that game, and man, that was the hypest we had ever came out of that locker room, man. That door almost fell off the thing, how we were just blasting out of that locker room. That's one of the most precious and vivid memories I ever have in my life, of leading my men in the battle. You know, that was a hard fought game. So that was that. That was senior year, and it culminated in graduation day. You know, when everybody walked across the stage. You know, most people, they at the end of graduation, when the guys done speaking, everybody, the whole class throws their hats up and all that kind of stuff like that. I think, if I can remember, I don't think I remember that particular part, because I think towards the end I had went with my family. Went with my family at some part, but I ended up coming back because a couple of the fellas had found me in the hallway. It's like, Kane, we need you to come. We gotta break it down. We gotta break it down. And I'm thinking it's just us, you know, the football team. We're gonna break it down. Man, I get in there, it's the entire 2004 class ready to break it down. I get in the middle, and a couple of my boys help me out, because, you know, what time is it? Night time. What time is it? Man, we go crazy. We capped off, you know, the 2004 class with that chant. Through our heads up. So it means a lot to me.